Hi, it's Jeff.
And Denise from Mousesteps.com.
And this is episode number 258.
258.
Of Mousesteps Weekly.
Sponsored by MEI Travel and Mouse Fan Travel. Summer 2019 itineraries were just announced for the Disney Cruise Line. They go on sale in the next week, so check out the Mouse Fan site for more information. Definitely, there's so much. There's Alaska, there's the Caribbean, there's Europe. So much going on with the Disney Cruise Line. Of course, MEI and Mouse Fan Travel can also book Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Adventures by Disney, and almost anywhere you want to go, anywhere.
Not to mention Universal fan travel too. Mm-hmm. Highly recommended. Make sure you check them out. Now we're going to start with the Epcot International Flower and Garden Festival. But we had gone a few days before the festival began and came across this amazing sight.
Well, I came across it. You had already walked past it.
Indeed, that is true. I can't believe I missed it at first.
And I was curious what was going on down by Canada. This was before World Showcase opened. And then I started texting Jeff. I'm like, get over here. And it took you forever to get over there. But Mickey and Minnie were shooting a promo, which is now out.
And it's phenomenal.
It is a terrific promo.
It's probably the best thing I've ever seen Disney shoot to promote a park item.
Well, the Mickey and Minnie I thought looked terrific. So I was taking photos and just trying to get Jeff over so he could see it too. They weren't over in the Canada Pavilion very long. World Showcase was just about to open as Mickey and Minnie were walking here. I'm not sure how long they were shooting, but probably
very short. Mm-hmm. I would say very, very short, maybe no longer than 20 minutes. And this was right at about 11 o'clock when World Showcase opened, so they whisked them away. But right place, right time, amazing. I don't think we'll ever see these guys again like this in person. And it was fun to see the other guests react to two living topiaries walking down the World Showcase streets.
And you never know, because obviously they put a lot of effort into these costumes, so you never know if maybe sometime you'll see them again. Unlike the Captain Hook, Captain
Hook has never made a return appearance. They had a Captain Hook who they wheeled out like it was a topiary, and people would come up to get a picture with it, and then he would come alive, and that's completely different than what we had here.
I mean, these actually look like really nicely done costumes, so hopefully, someday we'll see them again. And here is the guide map and the festival passport.
Right, now we're at opening day, and here is Mickey and Minnie Topiary. They look much less movable in this video right here.
That would be cool, though, if they, started
Imagine if all of a sudden,
now
that would impress me. If if you watch the video Disney released at night, when everyone goes away, they all do come alive.
Yes, and I mean, if you haven't seen the promo, definitely check it out. But here are... I think we've seen all of these topiaries, and somebody told us the Goofy one might be new, but he looks kind of like one we've seen. I don't think
so. I think he's the same Goofy we've seen in other years. There's two Goofys, and this is the super tall one. I think he had a fishing rod in this pose one year.
Well, I think also he was a lifeguard or something, like almost 10 years ago.
And let's not forget the best one when he was a gardener with his garden hose.
That was a funny one, actually. So we're walking into the festival. This is the 25th year of the Epcot International Flower and Garden Festival. I just want to mention there's no festival center this year, and that for me is a big disappointment. But the festival is still beautiful, and we've got the concerts and food, and here we see Donald and the nephews. The nephews were new for a couple years ago.
Yeah, this is, I think, the third year of the nephews.
Yes.
They look great here. Here's another shot of them. Very colorful. It was a beautiful day when we were out here.
Yes, and Huey, Dewey, and Louie, they were in the front topiary the first year, and then they moved more
in
toward
the little,
World Showcase.
Transitional topiary.
Yes, and here we are with Donald and the bee. And you see a lot of the bees and the honey. You've got the National Honey Board being a sponsor this year, so that's something that you'll see we'll talk about a little bit.
And I see here is the butterfly. They have a lot of these giant butterflies like they often do. And in the background, you could see the butterfly house. And here is the beautiful flower quilt, which looks quite different than it did on the first day we went in, the first time they planted it. So Denise thought perhaps they even have done another planting by now already.
Well, usually they do at least one planting. And I think last year, because it was 90 days like this year, I think they did two. And the colors are totally different. So I'm assuming they went from winter to spring flowers already. And here you have, this is new this year, is a good it's not new. It's a butterfly
Right.
tent, but the name has changed.
And you could see Daisy with a butterfly in her hand, and here is Chip and Dale, two repeating. Again, I think everybody is repeating.
Everybody's
as far as
repeating.
the topiaries.
And you have Chip and Dale. This is their third year, I believe, as well. Daisy has been here for a very long time. Not in this particular area. You had Sorcerer Mickey and Fantasia Group until, well, for the last few years. And then Stitch is where usually there was a hippo saying Festival Center this way,
Right.
but Stitch is there
Right,
now.
Stitch, yeah, that would be by the shop there.
Mouse Gear.
Mouse Gear. And, you know, Stitch has been a multi-seasonal topiary. He sometimes makes appearances for Christmas.
He often has. And the Bambi group also.
Buzz
And
Lightyear.
He's looking a little down. I don't know why.
Literally
Usually-
looking down.
Yes,
We're not saying he's sad. He should be sad because right next to him is a very closed universe of energy and a also very unutilized festival center.
Yeah,
Maybe that's why he's looking down. Sadness.
No, the Festival of the Arts was such an interactive experience. So the Epcot Flower and Garden Festival will be less so than normal this year. I really will miss this part, which is more of an educational aspect of the festival and sort of like the heart for me of the festival.
Yeah, we enjoyed going in and seeing the seminars and learning. You know, over the years we learned a lot about gardening and about
And
the
planted.
history about topiary. So
Right.
we will miss that. Hopefully that'll come back. Maybe there's just a problem with the
I
building.
like the movie and everything. You know, they would show how
Oh, yeah.
each year was made. So here we have Figment. Figment now seems to be a topiary for every festival, which is actually pretty awesome. And we had him, he was at the front of the park this year for the Epcot International Festival of the Arts.
Yes.
And now he's there.
And now we have returning the Road to the Florida 500 with the Pixar cars.
Right. You have Cruz Ramirez, who is new last year. There was actually quite a bit new last year, including Figment
Right.
and Cruz Ramirez. So here is Cruz, who at that time, I don't think anybody knew who Cruz was when the festival first opened.
The film hadn't come out yet, yeah. So now everyone will know who Cruz is.
I think it came out in June. So, you know, it was towards the end of the festival when, you know, people really started knowing who it was. And here is Lightning McQueen again. We do not have Tomater this year. And I don't think we had Tomater last year either. But Tomater has made appearances in the past.
Oh yeah, Tomater has been there for many festivals, so we'll miss him, but hopefully he'll make a return in the coming years. And these are very beautiful, the floating planters.
And I always enjoy these. They really make the water kind of stand out. And they also have them in the imagination area. And there you have the 3 Caballeros, and they are returning again. We used to see them over at Disney's Coronado Springs, although we have seen them here and there at the same time. So I guess they've, at least in the past, had a couple sets of them.
Right. I think last year was the first year that they returned after a lengthy absence from the festival.
Right. And I really enjoy them. They seem more colorful this year than they've ever seen before, and it's always nice to see them back.
So anyway, we're going to go back to World Showcase and look at the main center topiary this year. It is the butterflies.
Yes, and now when we went there for the opening day, they had Steve Harvey being set up. I guess they're going to have shows over there. So
I'm glad we had an unsullied view. It sometimes pays off to go a little early.
Well, we went many days, early because really the few weeks before the festival, you can enjoy the flowers and topiaries being set up. And the butterflies, I think, look nicer than ever this year as well. And you have Bambi and Thumper and Flower here, and they are in a different area. They're usually over more towards the Canada Pavilion, and here they're more in the World Showcase as you enter World Showcase.
Right. They're normally they used to be next to the DVC booth, and now there's some kind of carving of the bears over there. So this is a great location. You can really get close to them. So as long as they don't get sullied, that is a good thing.
The guests could touch them a little bit easier, but and there is a monorail going over the water here.
What a beautiful shot. I like the reflection. I always try to get that shot if possible.
Well, the water was really still that day. And as you go into the United Kingdom, you have the Pooh characters again. Pooh has his balloon, and then we'll see Tigger and some other characters as well.
And Pooh has been there for many years, and he has moved around. As a matter of fact, he was in that transitional topiary area in the past in World Showcase, if you remember.
And he was gone for a little while as well. The Pooh characters, not all of the topiaries are here every year. They kind of have to take care of them sometimes. And you have Eeyore
and Piglet.
Yes, and they really haven't changed through the years. They if you look back almost 10 years, you're going to see pretty much the same shape and everything. They haven't really, some character topiaries have evolved and some are, the same.
Well, when they were promoting the Winnie the Pooh movie, which was probably at this point maybe 7 or 8 years ago, they were slightly different because they had signs and everything, and they were promoting that film. Remember when Winnie the Pooh? You don't remember?
I don't know.
We reviewed it.
I don't remember.
Covered
I
it.
don't remember.
But it's a great film, by the way. You might want to check it out. The new Winnie the Pooh, new to 7 or 8 years ago.
Don't even remember right now. But anyway, there was Rabbit, and here we have Tigger. This area for photography is a little tricky at times. Like in the early mornings, it's a little glary.
Right, and you're going to see that. This was a little bit of a glare here because it's so bright behind them. But, that's why you just need to come multiple times at multiple days.
Or walk around. And here is the Shakespeare Garden, and they have William Shakespeare, and then flowers, and then like quotes from William Shakespeare.
And later on you'll see a little bonus to that, but now we're going to look at the, I guess you could call it the fairy garden.
Well, it's Tinkerbell. There's one, they used to have like a bunch of the different fairies in topiary form, but Tinkerbell has been on her own for a number of years now. She used to be part of the Butterfly House for a few years as well. And actually they used to have a bunch of the fairies inside the Butterfly House, which I enjoyed, but they have the fairy garden with the houses. Mm-hmm.
And those are all the houses very similar to the animated films that we've seen. And, when you watch them, better than one would expect. I quite liked all the
the last fairy film was very good. So I actually enjoy those. And there is we have Peter Pan and Captain Hook. Now, Peter Pan has been on top of the sportsman shop for years, and he is now on the ground.
Now, we were talking about the Come to Life Captain Hook topiary, and we will link to that in the show notes. He did look almost exactly like this. Not as big, but it was very realistic, so you did not think he was real, and then he would just come to life.
And he was only out for, you said...
20 minutes.
20 minutes total.
But that was for the public. What we saw earlier was not for the public at all. That was mainly just to shoot the film, and they just happened to be walking by.
I was surprised they walked out into the crowd as opposed to, I was very happy that they did. So Peter Pan, still no face. Captain Hook has eyes and everything. So here these are really beautiful trees. They also have the yellow ones.
And I can say that does not look like that now. This was before they all fell off, so now there's almost no leaves, sadly, on that tree. I thought there was
still a little bit, but
tiny bit.
As soon as they're there, they start going. And you have Belle and Beast, and this is early morning because Lahal Bakery, they open at 9 a.m. and a lot of guests do not know that. World Showcase doesn't open officially till 11 a.m. You have Norway open, and then you have Lahal Boulangerie open.
We will fully see that in just a second, but I want to mention that Belle, with her very beautiful face, just debuted last year. Mm-hmm. So she's very new, and here we go. We know very well about the bakery.
Well, the baguettes are only a few
$3.15 with tax.
I was going to say a few euros, but it's actually not euros.
Euros.
We've been talking so much about Disneyland Paris lately.
So that giant baguette right there, $3.15 with butter if one wants it. No extra charge.
And then one day we also tried this chocolate tart, which is actually
really
very good.
Very good. So was the eclair we saw earlier. This is a composite of a couple days.
And they do quiches, and they have a couple soups and sandwiches and different pastry items. It really is well worth going to.
Now, those items were not exclusive to the festival, but the macaron here is.
Macaron au chocolat en sucette, I believe is how you would say it. And it is a chocolate macaron, and it is fantastic.
Fantastic.
This is the only item we have so far tried. We're not going to eat a lot at the Flower and Garden Festival.
It could only go downhill from here.
I actually like the America booth, which is, yes, I didn't realize we were heading over there.
The smokehouse, yes. I agree.
I like the smokehouse, so I definitely want to try a couple items here. But the macaron I will want more than one more time during the 3-month festival. And there was Woody and Lady and the Tramp were two of the last topiaries to
go in.
Yeah.
At first we didn't even think they were there, but in their usual spot, they are phenomenal as always. I love to see them. They're very, very cute looking.
And they have been in another area of Italy, but they've been here now for 5 or 6 or more years. They have been more in that location as well in the past. And here is Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and they are also back in their spot that they've been in for years. Snow White received a new face about 4 years ago. And so Anna and Elsa then also received, they didn't have old faces.
Yeah,
Anna
I was
and
going to
Elsa
say,
just
not a
started,
new face,
no.
a face at all.
But they're like topiary 2.0, where they actually get sculpted features, the face and the neck. And
nice
the
hands on that Snow White, too.
We know the hand model. And so there are the Seven Dwarves. They are not as sculpted as Snow White. Snow White looks fantastic.
I think they're all fantastic. I love this. I think it's beautiful. And the thing is, this location is great. Where they used to have them was very hard to see. It was way off by where Snow White now meets.
Right. So, I mean, they've been in other areas, but I just want to mention also the first time I saw Snow White, I didn't know she was getting a face. I don't want to say the first time we saw her like this, and I was just like, Snow White has a face. Snow White has a face.
I remember that.
And there is Simba. We have now Rafiki and Simba. They have not changed, I don't think, at all over the years. I was looking at some old photos from around 2009-ish. They had giraffes back then well. I really like also you have Mufasa and Nala here. But they look pretty much the same, again, kind of from almost 9 years ago.
Right, just location, because at one point they were in that Dead Center World Showcase welcome area.
And you have Timon and Pumbaa here. Timon used to hold the grubs. Like, you can tell he's supposed to be holding.
Oh, does he not have a grub?
He hasn't had them in many, many years. So it's just always funny that his hand is out. And you know he's supposed to be holding them, but he hasn't held them in many years.
That's very good that you noticed that.
I've noticed
didn't even notice that.
I think
How could I? Impossible.
I think even at Art of Animation, you'll see him in. We need to get over there again soon. In statue form, but without grubs too.
The Bromeliad dragon, one of our favorites.
It is. You know, he was gone for a few years at one point. Then he came back, and it's always nice to see him. He doesn't do the steam water.
Yeah, he doesn't squirt water out of his mouth anymore. But you know what? I'm just happy to have him back.
Now we have 2 dragons at the festival. You have Figment and you have the Bromeliad dragon. And the pandas are back. So you have 3 pandas. One of them always is hard to see. That's this little one right here. And then you have the 2 bigger pandas.
And it looks like this panda here is trying to get something from the tree. Maybe some bamboo.
Well, good luck with that.
Yeah, good luck with that is right. But, and also, and there is a shot of all the pandas together. And what do we have next? I don't remember my own editing. Oh, here we go. It's the troll.
The funny thing is nobody ever seems to know what the troll is, you know? Like, I heard a parent say to a child, it was like, do you want your picture taken with whatever this is? You know? And I did hear once somebody say it was Kristoff's troll.
Right. Most of them think it's from Frozen.
Right.
Most guests. It's fun to just stand there and listen.
But the troll's been there for forever and ever. And so Elsa and Anna, they had received their faces from the get-go, and I think this is their 4th year. They have moved around a fair bit, and I think we even saw them. We saw them one year at Disney's Hollywood Studios for the Frozen Summer Fun.
Oh, right. That's right. I remember that. And this is their 2nd year in the current location right in front of their meet and greet area.
Yeah, and the 3rd year in Norway because they were closer to. They were at the front of World Showcase the first year.
Right.
But they look really good, and they're a little bit out of the way. So I like to kind of get them early in the morning when I'm photographing them.
And now we're going to look at the Mexico Pavilion. I know we already saw Mexico and we saw the Caballeros, but now we need to look at the beautiful orchids they have on display.
And this has been here for a few years at least now, and it's amazing how all of a sudden you have orchids, you know, and orchids like everywhere. So that's really nice to see. And, you know, I've read in the past that orchids are really easy, I guess, to grow. They seem so exotic, but I guess they're just easy. Like, you could just put them in your yard and have a million of them.
So now it's time to play the Spikes Pollination Exploration game. There will also be another egg extravaganza, but that does not start yet.
And that will be in a couple of weeks. So here are the prizes, and you can actually choose your prizes and have your map stamped before you even start the game. You don't even have to play the game if you just want the prizes. And these are they're patches, and you sew them on.
Yeah, they're not iron-on patches.
But they're really nice. I mean, it's something unique, a little something different this year.
And spoiler alert, if you don't want to see the 2 easiest ones, just fast forward to 2050, and you will not be spoiled.
Right. Well, we're already hitting the spoiler ones here.
But it's it's incredibly easy, and you have to pay attention because by the bug, it says Rose there, and that's where you would match the sticker with the little spot on the map.
And you have to also really read the map, because Jeff was like, okay, well, we need to go to France and look around France. And we looked all over France, and then we looked at the map. It's like, there is nothing in France.
Right.
There was one at the Florida Fresh, which is right next to, in the France area.
Well, Italy here has two. Right. So unlike every other game, and we have played every single game they've ever had here at Epcot, this is the first one that every country doesn't have a sticker, a goal.
Right.
A goal.
Well, I think sometimes I don't know if the Outpost always has one, but generally it's, one per country. And here it isn't like that at all. So definitely check the map and study where you can find them. They're not so hard.
A lot of fun, though. I would definitely recommend doing it. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
$5.99.
That's right. Now we're going to jump into a favorite of ours, merchandise. And we're going to start off with all this cool Figment merchandise.
There's Figment and Orange Bird are two of the main ones, plus Minnie Mouse. There's quite a bit of Minnie Mouse as well. I don't know, for fans like us, Figment and Orange Bird is a big deal.
This is really cool, by the way. It is a bird feeder. I didn't get that right away, but who wouldn't want a Figment bird feeder?
It's very cute. I mean, then you can get the birds in your yard. We don't have a feeder. And there is a Figment garden statue. So Figment features prominently. You don't have as much like Mickey Mouse, and there's
Minnie.
a little bit.
There's a little bit of Minnie.
There's quite a bit of Minnie, actually. So it's like Figment, Minnie, and Orange Bird are like the 3 main ones this year.
And also 25. A lot of the stuff will say 25, like on the side of the hat there. It's a 25th for the 25th anniversary.
And there is a Figment shirt. We're also on the left-hand side, we're about to see the Figment mugs, which have really kind of several sides to them. And it looks like a light bulb, which is kind of, I don't know how it will be to drink out of, but it's really cute. And so there's a lot of thought, I would say.
A lot of imagination.
Yes. The best part about the festival in some ways is the merchandise this year, plus the topiaries,
yes,
which,
of course.
We've been looking at for weeks.
And another Tervis, a big Tervis to, not that we need more Tervis.
I like the bottle ones, though. And so maybe, especially if they go to the outlet, that would be very nice.
Here's a shot showing all the hole around the cup there, which again looks like a light bulb, a spark of imagination.
Yes, and even the handle has like his back.
The dragon, yeah, the tail area, I think.
And there is a Figment ornament. There is so much Figment merchandise, so hopefully it does very well. And here is Orange Bird.
Right, not to mention the Orange Bird. Lots of love for the Orange Bird this year. And this is my favorite stuff, actually. I quite love the Orange Bird stuff.
So they have the Epcot International Flower and Garden hat. You have, obviously an Orange Bird shirt. It's not the only Orange Bird shirt. There's other ones as well. We'll also see, what I really like is the Minnie Mouse with the spaceship Earth inside that we're going to be seeing in a minute. But then there's,
You need this hat.
I don't want the hat. It's cute. They have, it's a hat and the spaceship Earth with the orange. But here you have, it looks like Minnie Mouse with the ears, and then
the
spaceship
orange has
Earth.
a bit of a spaceship Earth.
No, it's totally spaceship Earth, and I really like that. So
it is an orange,
The only thing I don't like is the font for this year's Flower and Garden Festival. So like that shirt doesn't do anything for me. Just the Flower and Garden font is.
See, that is the texture of Spaceship Earth, but it is an orange.
It's an orange, yes, but it's Spaceship Earth within an orange.
It is brilliant.
And it's Minnie Mouse. So
this stuff is just amazing. We're going to have to get one of these salt and pepper shaker garbage cans. It's actually, all of this is one. You're just seeing the various sides. And I'm drinking, as we speak, out of the Tervis, this awesome Tervis here with Mickey and the Orange Bird.
And Pluto. So it's nice to have Mickey and Pluto also within it. And then there's also this mug, and it looks like a flower pot, but you have again the Minnie Mouse with the spaceship Earth, and you have Mickey, Pluto. I mean, Orange Bird, it's fantastic. And the little salt and pepper shakers also had like the flower quilt, and Mickey, and I mean, there's so much going on within that.
Nice bag, too. Very creative. I think they did a great job with the merchandise.
I just think, if anything excelled this year, it was the merchandise for me. Like, if somebody doesn't know who Figment or the Orange Bird is, there's not going to be as much merchandise for them. But if you do like them, then there's plenty.
And this has outlet written all over it. If we bide our time, perhaps we'll get one of these nice posters.
But you have to be there at the outlet at exactly the right time. So don't wait for the outlet if you really want something, because you just never know. We're just talking about the Disney outlets. Not everybody knows what they are, but on Vinland and then down International near where Wet n Wild used to be.
And here is something sure to be popular. It is a purple rose that kind of flickers, sort of like the Beauty and the Beast rose.
It's exactly
rose
like
sipper.
It's exactly like that, except it's not Beauty and the Beast and it's purple, but it's very similar. Also, there are mini items. I had mentioned earlier that Minnie Mouse figured on quite a few items.
Another Tervis.
Yes, on the Tervis, but also on quite a few other pieces of merchandise.
And here are the pass holder exclusive items. It's a women's shirt and a men's shirt. And I really like the men's one. There's Figment looking at the map there with topiaries, very much similar to what we saw in the little garbage can salt and pepper shakers.
I think it's the exact same artwork.
So I really do like the pass holder items, and there's more pass holder goodness.
Right, and again, Minnie Mouse, and she figures in
There's a
also
Dooney.
the purse,
Yeah.
right?
But that's not a pass holder. The Dooney is not a pass holder exclusive. All of that stuff is pass holder
That
only
we're looking
items.
at right now, and there is Minnie Mouse again, and I just like the kind of the bandana and the hair.
And this, of all things, is a ornament. Yeah, and really nice with the oranges in the crate there. So I like that also.
Also, again, with that artwork that includes, you have Donald and Pluto and all that too.
And the one plush that we saw, because I don't think they had a Figment plush that was special for
Or
the
Orange
festival.
Bird.
It was just a normal. Those were the normal plushes, but this plush here is for the festival. And I just heard that the very desirable ears are now in. So next time we go to the festival, I'll be sure to get some footage of that. And it's now nighttime. It's time for Illuminated Gardens, one of my favorite times of the whole festival day.
And before Belle and Beast, we had seen Lady and the Tramp, and Lady and the Tramp, it was just as the sun was going down, so the lights were just going on, which is actually one of my favorite parts of it, where you can kind of get the photo before it gets too dark. And here is, again, we're back to Winnie the Pooh here.
I really do love the Illuminated Gardens, all the topiaries after dark. They take on a whole different look to me.
Right, and we will see them again. We're going to go see Night Ranger on Saturday, and that is tomorrow from the time that we're recording this. And after Illuminations, you can kind of walk around and see the Illuminated Gardens with not so many guests around.
So let's talk about the festival overall. This is the 25th anniversary. I would have loved to see some kind of retrospective. Had there been a festival center, it would have been nice to see some of the highlights over the years of the festivals, or maybe even brought back some classic topiaries, things that we haven't seen in years as actual topiaries for the festival.
And this year I missed the movie where they talked about the making of the festival. There's a lot that I miss this year, and it doesn't feel like a big year for it. But that doesn't mean it's not. It's certainly worth going to. It's still a lot of fun.
It's still awesome.
We
it's
tried.
Just there's such potential for an anniversary that I would have liked to see. Anyway, now we're going to go and change gears completely. It was Coco Day in Los Angeles a few days ago.
We had been invited to participate in this as far as covering it, so we sent somebody, and they went, and he did a great job. This is actually a photo from Disney, gave that to us to use, but we have video as well where we did an interview with Lee Unkrich and Darla K. Anderson, the director and the producer of Coco, and we asked them about Epcot and how that inspired the movie.
Well, I had long been interested in the holiday of Dia de Muertos, but it was after I finished Toy Story 3, I was with my family at Epcot, and we were at the Mexico Pavilion, and I was on the boat ride getting in, and I looked up and saw the papier-mâché skeleton mariachi band on the bridge that's there, and I remember that moment specifically being the moment that I had the idea to maybe tell a story that was set against the holiday of Dia de Muertos, and so that was the first little seed, and here we are 6 years later.
We thought that was very interesting and perfect timing, too, because we were just at Epcot. So, of course, we stopped over at the Mexican Pavilion.
for the Gran Fiesta Tour, which is the Mexican boat ride. And here are the mariachis he was talking about. And we knew exactly, where they are because we've ridden this hundreds of times. But it was really fun to kind of see it after he mentioned exactly what inspired him.
I just love that. I love that Epcot had a part in inspiring one of my favorite films, Pixar films of all time, Coco.
It's really a fantastic film, and it just came out also on Blu-ray and DVD and home
We
video.
just got the Steelbook.
Yes,
I recommend the Steelbook.
He bought the Steelbook.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Absolutely. So anyway, we're going to be hearing from Anthony Gonzalez. He plays Miguel in the film, and he sang 2 songs, but we're just going to hear one of them. It's about 1.5 minutes, and we'll be playing that. It's Remember Me, and it's up for Best Original Song at the Oscars.
So let's cross our fingers, hope it wins, and here he is singing Remember Me.
Remember me, though I have to say goodbye, remember me. Don't let it make you cry, for even if I'm far away, I hold you in my heart. I sing a secret song to you each night we are apart, remember me. Though I have to travel far, remember me. Each time you hear a sad guitar, know that I'm with you the only way that I can be. Until you're in my arms again, remember me. Remember me. Though I have to say goodbye, remember me. Don't let it make you cry. For even if I'm far away, I hold you in my heart. I sing a secret song to you each night we are apart, remember me. Though I have to travel far, remember me. Each time you hear a sad guitar, know that I'm with you the only way that I can be. Until you're in my arms again, remember me.
I just want to mention he's 13 years old, which is
13.
incredible. And his voice has changed a little bit it sounds like, from the film.
But it's really incredible. I mean, I've listened to that so many times. And he does a second song as well.
Un Poco Loco.
So we will fully link to the entire performance in the show notes.
Yes, and here they are with the proclamation for Coco Day. You have the Mariachi Divas here. You can see them at Disney California Adventure sometimes.
Which we have. We have
have.
absolutely watched them.
And some of the cast from the film as well.
Voice talent.
Yeah. And so this is a very exciting day, and I wish we could have been there, but I'm glad we were able to send somebody.
So that is another show. Thanks again to our sponsor, MEI Travel and Mouse Fan Travel.
Check out their redesigned website. There's a lot of information, including about the cruises I mentioned that are going to be bookable very soon in just days. And they book a lot of Disney. They can book worldwide travel, but especially they specialize in like Adventures by Disney, Walt Disney World Travel, Disneyland, Universal.
Asia.
Absolute
Asia.
Yeah. So, but they can do worldwide travel, and also Royal Caribbean. They seem to do a lot of that. So definitely check out their website.
And we're going to have a lot more next week. We didn't even talk about the 2 billion euros that Disney is putting into Disneyland Paris. We'll have a special segment on that next week with Curious Axel chiming in with all his thoughts.
And we're doing the Epcot Royalty Tour on Monday.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that.
That'll be very exciting. And we still have so much from Axel's visit, including a boat ride on the Seven Seas Lagoon, a review of the Polynesian Ohana meal, also a review on the Edison, all kinds of goodness.
We did so much during that time. So whatever we do this week, and then we'll probably draw from that a little bit as well.
So anyway, thanks again for listening. Have a great week, and we'll see you all next week.
Have a great week.